making up for some of the climate damage that they've caused.
Obviously, if you see, like what you said, right? I understand. I think what you're doing is great work, right? Especially when you could be in a country, especially developing country, right, and seeing the efforts that is made that I think developed countries are failing to, achieve because they have to meet the global or the national GDP, the gross domestic product, right, of the country, right? Developed countries are focused on profit over people or profit over conservation, profit over preservation, right? So, like, I want to start off by asking you, give me 3 to 5 things, right, that you took away from your experience being in, Indonesia.
Okay.
It could be in a phrase, word, and you could describe, but your when you went there and came back, there was a change in your perspective and change in how you approached your career. Like, what would you say?
Yeah, so I think I was able to really recognize that there's communities who are really being impacted by our decisions and our behaviors and our carbon emissions through being more exposed to extreme weather events, rising sea levels in these island nations like Indonesia, and we now have the opportunity to empower those communities to protect their own environments, improve their livelihoods, and also contribute to combating and mitigating climate change, and making their own environments more resilient to the effects of climate change.
What do you think world leaders or leaders in general, the UN, the COP conferences, where leaders meet or whatnot, right? What do you think they are failing to do? Because it's all great hearing words, but when words are not followed by action, right, people start questioning. It's been, 27 years that the Conference of Parties, COP conferences have took place, right? There's not been massive changes. It's always a deal that's made, but it's always broken deal. It's not fulfilled. What do you think the leaders are doing that, the normal people like me, you, everyday public, right, that see, and question because they haven't progressed with any of their promises, right? What would you say?
Yeah, I think it's really frustrating that we've been having these conferences, as you said, for 27 years, and we're still in the same position we are. Like, we still haven't got a solid commitment to phase out coal, even though we know it's the most polluting fossil fuel out there. And honestly, I think Antonio Gutierrez, the UN official.
Did you see? I have to ask you this right before we go. See him, reading the wrong script?
No, I didn't.
So basically, during the COP 27, right?
Yeah.
In Egypt, he started off reading a script that was not supposed to be read. On the stage. He was on the stage reading a script, and he goes, "Oh, I'm reading the wrong script," and then he changes it and then start reading the right script, right? So I found that a little bit, bizarre, because like you got the main guy, the main body of the COP conferences coming out there and reading the wrong script, right? So that was bizarre to me. But carry on.
I was just going to say, I think he's been getting more and more, it seems like, frustrated with the lack of ambition that we're seeing. And I think he's started to get more, just like visibly, really, saying it how it is, saying we are literally, we're climate criminals. That's what some of these companies are, that are just pursuing, and some countries as well, that are putting all their value for GDP on fossil fuels, even though we know that's destroying the planet.
Yeah, because whilst the deal was being made, like COP26, there was a coal mine that was going to be opened up here in the UK, a few places around the world. So, it's quite bizarre to me, because I really do feel like, for my take, my bro, that, these leaders really don't care. Like, you know, how many conferences would it take before we kind of realize that what they say and the actions that been you know, that's been taken, or the progression of the promises that has to be fulfilled, right, has not been fulfilled. Like, it's quite bizarre to me, and I find it very I question the COP conferences, because nothing really happens from that. What do you think, you know, the most economically developed countries should do? Because they have to stop with, you know, putting the blame on the least developed countries, right, and take some accountability, take some responsibility, right, for their actions. But there is that. What they're trying to portray is that it's always been the countries that's been the least disruptive for climate change that are the ones to blame. So what would you say for that?
I hope that is starting to change. So, you know, at the last COP in Egypt, there was the establishment of the Loss and Damage Fund.
Okay, yeah.
That actually got passed in the outcomes of COP, and that provides an opportunity for these more developed countries to invest into this fund, which is directly going to be supporting less developed countries and helping them to adapt